I am going to show you a recipe today. I had to move it outside because living in an RV is just too cramped and to make any kind of videos. All right, now let's go through the ingredients. This is going to supercharge your dog's food. Now, I don't care what brand or make of dry dog food, they all have one thing in common. They're produced with extremely high heat, and they dehydrate. That's how they get into those little chunks. They dehydrate, and when that happens, a lot of vitamins are lost. So the minerals stay, but the vitamins and the natural proteins are gone, and the fats, they can't have too much fat in it because it would just turn into a soppy mess. So the fats are boiled and everything. So a good high fiber, low calorie dog food, and you make this additive, and I'm going to tell you about a teaspoonful for each 10 pounds of dog body weight. So how much you make and how much you use will be dependent on the size of the dog. All right, so your first ingredient and the biggest ingredient, it's going to be just plain old pumpkin. That's all it is. You're gonna need a blender. I'm limited onto what I can make because my blender thing here is limited on what it can hold, and I'm limited on what I can put in the refrigerator because this has to be refrigerated. Or you could make a big batch of it and freeze it in bags, but I don't have freezer space either. So I usually make enough for about 2 of these mason jars, and I put it in the refrigerator. And then every time I feed the dogs, I put a teaspoon in each one of them's dish, mix it in real good with water. Now, technically, if you wanted to feed your dog totally natural, you could mix a teaspoon or a tablespoon of this in with a couple of fried eggs and fry it all up together, scrambled eggs with this stuff, this mixture I'm fixing to show you, and it would be just perfect for a dog. So anyway, the biggest ingredient is this. There's lots of fiber and vitamins and all that wonderful stuff, kind of stuff, but this make sure you get the stuff with no sugar in it. This is no sugar added, okay? Now, the smaller ingredients, I call these the high-powered nutrient ones, is 1 can of leaf spinach. Make sure you drain all the liquid off because this is going to turn into a mush even with all the liquid drained. And if you leave any liquid in the can, it'd be a real soupy mess. So 1 can leaf spinach, 1 can of sliced carrots. Doesn't have to be expensive, it's all going to get mixed together. 3 ounces of salmon oil or fish oil. This is going to help, with their coat and their skin and all like that. And 3 ounces of coconut oil. This will also help with their pooping and make sure they stay regular and all like that. So 3 ounces of this. Now, when you're preparing this, it's best, seeing as this is it isn't liquid, is to heat this up in a thing and then put the 3 ounces of fish oil in there while this is warm, and that will help it stay liquid while you're doing all the rest of the process. And then we're going to go with about 1 cup of flaxseed, ground flaxseed. You want it ground? This, along with all the omega-3s and all that good cardiovascular stuff, it also helps, it's ground, suck up some of the moisture and oil in this mix. So it helps everything stay together better, and it's going to give them some good fiber in their diet. So anyway, this is a fairly straightforward ordeal. I usually start off by Throwing a spoonful of the pumpkin in there. And then I'll add like the spinach, the carrots, get them all out of it. And now we'll, these are 3 ounces, so for 8 ounces, it's, I usually do about 3 cups, 3 of these cups. And ground flaxseed. And then we'll throw the oil in there on top of all that. And now, let's see here, up the rest of the pumpkin mix. And as you can see, this is a full blender load or food processor load of ingredients. So that limits to what I can make. Maybe you have a bigger one and you can just double the ingredients. But this is a supercharged additive. I've actually, after feeding this to a dog with cataracts, the cataracts did not go away, but they reduced. They actually had a little bit of reduction. I'm going to put that in there with the carrots and the carotene for probable causes of it. So anyway, we got all that together. And do I have power? No, I do not. All right, got the power on. All we got to do then, just hit it on low and pulse it. Might have to stir it up. Occasionally when it get a full load like this, it has to be stirred and mixed up a little bit. It looks like it's doing pretty good though right now. I don't see any big chunks of carrot. Looks like it's all getting done up pretty good. So I'm going to hit it with a few more pulses. All right, that's pretty much it. Too slippery. I'm going to take it in the house and do it. I'm going to leave y'all to figure out how to put it in the jar. But you take the blade out and everything and you scoop it in the... You'll need at least 2 of these jars. And I say a teaspoon for each. Basically for each of my dogs or min pens, I just take a spoonful in each one of them's bowl. Then I add water to it, hot water, because hot water soaks into the food better. And this here, you don't want them just picking through it and just pick this out. So that water will get all of it, soak all this into the dog food. But like if you wanted to get rid of the dog food and just go, depending on the size of the dog, 2 or 3 eggs and put a spoonful of this in there, scramble it up. That's about a day's worth of food for a dog, because the oil in here, a dog really gets a lot of calories out of fats. So the oil and the coconut oil gives them a lot of calories. And the eggs would have a lot of protein and, of course, natural fats. So if you wanted to go totally natural, for a 8-pound min pin, 3 scrambled eggs and a spoonful of this, of course, it won't fill them up like dog food, because the dog food has a lot of junk in it, and this is pure. This is like pure nutrient and energy for the dog. So, yeah, this could be considered a super diet. Well, I'm going to leave you with that. I highly recommend you make this for your additive, no matter what. If you feed your dog dry food, just mix all this and make sure it's thoroughly mixed all over the food. Otherwise, they're just going to lick it off the food and leave the dog food in there. But I usually mix it with water. That makes the dog food soft. But when you feed soft dog food, just make sure the dogs have plenty of leather chew toys, raw hides and stuff like that. That helps keep their teeth clean. So that's it for now. This is my video on the dog food super diet that you can make, and it won't break the bank. I mean, this is probably the most expensive thing, but you're only putting 3 ounces at a time in there, so this will last almost a year. I mean, this and this right here. If you only have one dog, one small dog, like a Chihuahua or a miniature pinscher, that right there probably lasts you a month. So I have a little bit more than that, so I have to make at least 2 of these a month. So y'all have a good one, and I hope you've learned something from this.